Good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry that I was not able to give a warning that I was going to be doing this video today. I did not anticipate that my four-year-old would take a nap, so she's sleeping. And so I thought I would pop on here and talk to you guys a little bit about what the gallbladder has to do with your hormone health and how it impacts your hormone health, how your hormones impact your gallbladder. I think that people are starting to recognize by now that everything in your body operates with biofeedback, meaning that your gallbladder is sending messages to your hormones are sending messages to your gallbladder, so when one is out of whack, the other is going to be out of whack as well. We've talked a little bit about liver and how your liver health really impacts your hormone function because your liver has to process all of those hormones. So everything that we're putting on our skin, everything that we are ingesting, everything that we are, breathing in through the air, drinking in through our water that has endocrine or hormone disrupting chemicals, your body has to process all of that out, and it's processed by the majority through your liver. So helping your liver is one of the best things that you can do for your hormones, but not many people talk about your gallbladder. So I actually was looking into this a couple years ago because I was having gallbladder spasms. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. They've done scans. There's no stones. There's no polyps. Like, what is the deal? And I just so happened, which happens to me a lot, just so happened to land upon research that was talking about how hormone imbalances affect the gallbladder and vice versa. So I'm going to share with you guys a little bit about that. The first thing that I want to share is, if you put your right hand, directly under your right rib cage, that's where your liver is. And then tucked underneath your liver is your gallbladder. Your gallbladder is, to oversimplify things, helps to break down fat. It helps to digest food. It releases bile that digests food. So it is a super important organ in your body. But what researchers are finding out, and actually this study that I found is actually from 1986. So this is a really old study. But surprisingly, not many physicians will talk about this. So what they have found is that there are hormone receptors specifically for estrogen and progesterone inside the human gallbladder. So this explains why women are more susceptible to more susceptible, whatever you want to call it, more likely to experience gallbladder issues either during or after pregnancy because you have such dramatic hormone shifts that a lot of women either end up having their gallbladder removed during pregnancy or after pregnancy. It also explains why women are more likely to have gallbladder disease or gallbladder issues after using hormonal birth control. And as we've talked, all birth control aside from condoms and natural family planning methods or sponges, diaphragms, things like that are hormonal, and they impact your hormones in a way that, even the copper IUD, technically, even though there's not a hormone in it, it does negatively impact your hormones because of the nature of the copper. So I'm just going to lump all of those together as hormonal birth control. So we know that there are estrogen and progesterone receptors inside of the gallbladder, meaning that they both receive and send information to those specific hormones. The other thing, and I pulled up the article so that I could refresh myself, is that so what we eat obviously affects the gallbladder, and therefore that affects our hormones and our ability to process those hormones. Let's see here. There are more than 50 different hormones and several that are involved in the proper functioning of the gallbladder. Hey, SJ. So I'm just going to share with you really quickly a few of those and what they are. So motilin is a hormone found in the cells of the intestine. It is released in response to fat intake. So again, gallbladder is what sends all of these messages about how to digest fats and proteins. It releases enzymes. Let's see, response to fat intake or the acidity in the small intestine. It initiates contraction of the gallbladder to induce the emptying of bile. So basically sends the messages to the gallbladder to release bile. This is why in pregnancy you are more prone to having gallbladder issues either during or after, because progesterone increases significantly and motilin drops significantly. So this can lead to symptoms like constipation, indigestion, gallbladder attacks that are prevalent during pregnancy. Melatonin. How many of you knew that melatonin was actually released in response to how your gallbladder functions? I actually didn't know that. I've never heard that before. So that was news to me. But melatonin, as you know, is the sleepy hormone. When it gets dark, when you close your eyes, melatonin is secreted and released, and that helps you to go to sleep at night. Melatonin actually also acts as a steroid to the body, meaning that it inhibits inflammation within the body. Melatonin also helps to inhibit gallstone formation. So if you are not sleeping, if you have a hormone imbalance that leads you to lose sleep before, during, after your cycle, around the perimenopause time, that can actually inhibit melatonin, and then the lack of melatonin actually inhibits the function of the gallbladder. Let's see here. Reducing cholesterol in the bile and increasing the conversion of cholesterol into bile salts. That is what melatonin does. CCK is a hormone that initiates gallbladder contraction and enzyme release from the pancreas. So big fancy words, but this is something that they will look for if they're looking for a low functioning gallbladder. Now we get to more of maybe the words that you're familiar with. So thyroxine is a hormone produced by your thyroid that helps to regulate metabolism. Low thyroxine levels or low thyroid function is actually connected to low gallbladder. So if you have ever had gallbladder issues, they need to be looking at your thyroid. And I have never, well, that's not true. I have not, until working with a naturopath for myself, had them say, your gallbladder is acting funky, let's look at your thyroid. What's going on with your thyroid? But they're all connected. So then what happens when you have low functioning gallbladder? Either you've had your gallbladder removed, or it's acting funky and you've got some work to do on it. What can happen then, once the gallbladder is removed, is you lower your response to both estrogen and progesterone. And you want to be responsive to those hormones, because when you're responsive to those hormones, you're actually getting the progesterone to go where it needs to go in the body. It's sending the correct messages. It's receiving the correct messages. When you take away one of the organs that is really sensitive to those hormones, it actually it causes some of the hormone imbalances that we're talking about here. It also, because the underlying hormone imbalance that led to the gallbladder issues were never addressed, leads to further hormone imbalance, because your gallbladder is not there receiving and sending that really important hormone information. Okay, so here's where it gets worse. The hormone-related side effects after gallbladder disease. So a lot of women that I work with have actually told me, I've never been the same since my gallbladder surgery. Like, my hormones are wacky, my digestion is terrible, I just can't get a handle on my weight, I can't lose weight, I can't gain weight, I'm having insomnia like I never had before. But the reality is that it's not just from removing the gallbladder, but actually the stress response of having surgery as well that accompanies both hormonal and metabolic changes. And there's a release of cortisol and all these other things that happen. So let's see here. If you have ever taken oral contraceptives or hormone replacement therapy of any kind, but specifically synthetic hormone replacement therapy, all of those are known to contribute to the formation of gallstones and the accompanying symptoms of pain, indigestion, burping, gas, bloating, and nausea. Let's see here, which then can lead to progesterone and estrogen issues, either in excess or like too much or not enough, can cause all of these symptoms. Can cause a supersaturation of bile, which leads to gallstones. It leads to bile sludge, which then can cause gallbladder colic. So if you're noticing it's not all the time, but you're having pain in your gallbladder, or a normal or low functioning of the gallbladder emptying. So the gallbladder not emptying that bile as it needs to. So bile is essential for excreting hormones like excess estrogen through the liver. So without a functioning gallbladder, it's a lot more difficult to get those excess hormones out of the body via the liver. So I know that this is really complicated stuff, but this is, again, one of the pillars that we work on in the hormone group coaching program, which is balancing the liver, which has huge benefits for the gallbladder. When we balance out the liver, we address underlying food intolerances. We address some of the things that can cause the liver to become backed up or congested. That directly benefits the gallbladder. So some things, and you can find this on the internet, but some things that help improve gallbladder function are things like liver detox tea, burdock root, any bitters or fermented foods help with gallbladder function. Also eliminating common food allergens like gluten, dairy, eggs, and soy. Eggs are known to be a huge gallbladder trigger food for a lot of people. And so it's worth, if you're having any gallbladder symptoms, it's worth eliminating it for a period of time to see if that helps you. Again, it is a very complex web of, connectedness between the thyroid, the gallbladder, the liver. But when we work on the liver, when we support the liver, when we remove the toxic overload, when we remove the things that are negatively impacting our hormones, it actually allows our gallbladder and our liver to heal. So if you have had your gallbladder removed, there are definitely things that we can do to get it functioning better. But again, working on the liver is one of the key components of that. So I hope that this makes sense. I just want to wrap it up by kind of bringing it all together, that when we address those pillars of hormone health, when we address stress, sleep, when we address, how hydrated we are, when we address the underlying hormone imbalances, gut dysfunction, the organs tend to heal themselves. And so with that, even eliminating toxins in our environment that are sending those carcinogenic messages to our thyroid, or the autoimmune messages to our thyroid, when we get rid of those and our thyroid functions properly, it actually will prevent a lot of gallbladder issues from happening in the first place. So I hope that this helped. Please feel free to pop on and ask questions. If I did not make any sense, I'm happy to clarify. Again, it's a super complex thing to break down, but it's something that's really important to talk about. So I hope you all are having a wonderful Tuesday, and thanks for listening.